Hello everyone, and welcome to this Uska News Water News video podcast. In November 2016, the first Global Water Stewardship Forum met in Scotland, the Hydro Nation, convened by the Alliance for Water Stewardship. Experts from more than 20 countries met in sunny Edinburgh for 2 full days with representatives from governments, large and small corporations, NGOs, finance and civil society. The forum was designed to advance global understanding and impacts of water stewardship and contribute to the further development of the global AWS water stewardship standard. Uska News reported on the forum, and I had an opportunity to speak to several key participants. Welcome, Anders Berntell. Can you take a moment, please, to introduce yourself to our viewers and tell us a little bit about you and what brings you to Edinburgh for this occasion?
Yes, I am the Executive Director of the 2030 Water Resource Group. We are one of the other sort of initiatives or institutions that do engage with the private sector in various ways. So I think it's very useful for us to engage with the other actors here and the AWS around sort of how we can improve the ways that we are working together.
Some of our viewers will know about the Water Resources Group, others may not be so familiar. Can you give us some background, please?
Yeah, so this is an initiative that has been created sort of at the global level by a number of the big multinationals that are very strongly dependent on water in food and beverage, for example, such as Coca-Cola, Nestlé, PepsiCo, SAB Miller, as it was then called earlier, but also more recently with other companies joining us at the global level, such as Grundfos and Dow Chemicals, etc., together with bilateral donors such as SDC, Swedish SIDA, and also a number of the big international intergovernmental organizations, and we're hosted within IFC, so the private sector part of the World Bank, thereby formerly part of the World Bank Group. But what we do then is to engage in specific countries, selected countries, and in those countries we establish something that we refer to as a multi-stakeholder platform, where the whole idea is that we will create that opportunity for the government in the country to engage with the private sector and civil society in that country. So we only work at the invitation of the government and also with the sort of with the belief that there is a strong commitment from the government to engage with the private sector in the way that we are sort of working on developing in that country, and then facilitate the dialogue within the country on what the priorities are for them, and develop together concrete programs that can address those challenges, be it sort of water quality, the gap between future water demand and supply, or on water quality aspects, etc. So real concrete action on the ground is what we're looking for that should come out of this process. And we have a number of such programs now already being implemented on the ground in the various countries where we are working. So we're right now in 10 countries and moving into 2 new this autumn, and so it's a work that is sort of gradually expanding.
In his opening remarks yesterday, the chair of AWS, Michael Spencer, said the future lay in collaboration. WRG's history of multi-stakeholder engagement in geographies and understanding those dynamics is a learning that you can bring to the water stewardship community in particular.
Yeah, definitely. We have a very strong collaboration on the ground in those countries where we are working. We're, as I said, right now in 10 moving to 12 countries, and we have more than 300 or 350 partners in total. So on average, more than 30 in each country, and many of them, or majority of them, actually being local private sector companies within that country. So we have a lot of experience on collaboration on the ground, leading to practical results. Not always easy. There's always challenges, but it's a journey, and I think we're learning as we move along and learn from both experiences and successes.
And you mentioned the expansion into further countries of WRG. What are future plans for upscaling of the Water Resources Group and expansion of activities?
Yeah, we're right now in the process where we are developing the next strategic plan for the future beyond the current phase that we're in, which ends in 2017. So we're looking at an expansion of the program, not sort of exponential, but gradual expansion, but leading maybe to 25 countries in 2022, 23 or something like that. So at that time it would be quite a significant number of countries. We don't take the view that we should as ourselves sort of continue to expand this program sort of infinitely, but rather to have enough portfolio of countries in different sort of geographies, different political, economical contexts, so that it can serve as inspiration to others. We don't intend to monopolize this approach. We think it's more, on the contrary, something that should be replicated and picked up by others. We believe very strongly in the power of this approach that we have, and we believe that if others would be willing to and able to pick this up and run with it themselves, we would be delighted and willing to help also.
And indeed, you've spoken this week at the forum about the opportunities for collaboration among organisations engaging with multiple stakeholders, and the need not to confuse the stakeholders, but to be providing a united front, a collaborative front, when such opportunities are available. Can you speak to that, please?
Well, I think in particular when it comes to sort of the synergies for collaboration between us and the AWS work, I think there are a number of opportunities. There are of course some differences, in particular when it comes to the starting point for our respective engagement. So we start at sort of a national level, at the invitation of the government. The AWS normally starts sort of at the local level, at the invitation of the company, and with an engagement around the particular facility. But in a number of cases, we have now sort of developed joint work programs, such as in Tanzania. We have helped to create what we call a Kilimanjaro water stewardship platform, which is for one of the river basins that is water stressed in Tanzania, and where the AWS has an engagement with one of the local Diageo breweries. So there are obvious synergies there, because the AWS will work with that brewery and sort of with stakeholders within the catchment, and we have helped to create sort of the wider buy-in from government, from civil society, and from other private sectors within that same river basin, so that all of them can start working together, as one example. The other example is in our work in Peru, where we have work in various sectors, but one of them is on water use efficiency in agriculture. So there AWS is working specifically with the big asparagus growers in Peru, which is indeed in very water-stressed areas of Peru, and working with those growers to help to reduce the water consumption when growing asparagus within the whole sort of supply chain there. So there are obvious potential synergies, I think, and the AWS standard could be one of the sort of tools that we are offering as part of a broader package of interventions when we are engaging in the country.